If you ask the average consumer to name an energy drink company, they will instantly say Red Bull. But what if I told you that Red Bull is not actually an energy drink company at all? In fact, Red Bull doesn't own a single beverage manufacturing plant, doesn't produce its own aluminum cans, and spent the first years of its existence selling a cheap medicinal syrup that was originally created for working-class truck drivers in Southeast Asia. Today, Red Bull is a multi-billion-dollar global empire that controls Formula One racing teams, extreme sports athletes, record labels, and a massive international media network. They don't just sell a caffeine-loaded soda, they sell a carefully crafted illusion of a high-adrenaline lifestyle, extreme adventure, and absolute fearlessness. But behind this sparkling blue and silver can lies one of the most ruthless, brilliant, and deceptive marketing strategies in modern corporate history. To understand how a simple Thai medicinal tonic became a dominant global cultural phenomenon, we must travel back to the 1980s, to the humid and chaotic streets of Thailand. During a routine business trip to Bangkok in 1984, an Austrian marketing executive named Dietrich Mateschitz was suffering from severe jet lag. Desperate for energy, he purchased a cheap local tonic called Krating Daeng, created by Thai entrepreneur Chaleo Yuvathia for long-distance drivers and factory workers. Within minutes, his exhaustion completely vanished. Mateschitz recognized a golden opportunity. While Coca-Cola and Pepsi fought over refreshing sodas, nobody was marketing a functional energy drink to wealthy Western consumers. Partnering together, each founder put up $500,000 to bring the drink to the West. However, Mateschitz knew importing the syrup as it was would fail. Westerners disliked the uncarbonated medicinal taste. He reformulated the liquid, adding carbonation while retaining taurine and caffeine. When tested with European focus groups, the response was overwhelmingly negative. Test subjects hated the taste, complaining it tasted like chemicals. But Mateschitz did the exact opposite of traditional corporate logic. He realized that if a product tasted like medicine, people would believe it was powerful and effective. When Red Bull officially launched in Austria in 1987, Mateschitz priced a small can at more than double the price of Coca-Cola. In the minds of young consumers, if something is expensive, it must be premium and potent. To launch without a massive advertising budget, he executed viral guerrilla marketing. He paid popular college students to drive Mini Coopers with giant Red Bull cans on the back, distributing free samples at campus parties. Legend has it that operatives deliberately dumped thousands of empty Red Bull cans into trash bins outside trendy nightclubs, creating the psychological illusion that everyone in the city was drinking this mysterious new beverage. As the brand expanded globally, Red Bull became a media house itself. They bypassed traditional sports like football, choosing instead to fund dangerous extreme sports that mainstream sponsors ignored: cliff diving, freestyle motocross, windsurfing, and mountain biking. By sponsoring young, daring athletes, Red Bull inextricably linked its identity with human peak performance and adrenaline. The absolute pinnacle of this strategy occurred in 2012 with the legendary Red Bull Stratos mission. Red Bull spent $50 million to launch Austrian skydiver Felix Baumgartner into the stratosphere, 24 miles above the Earth, where he stepped out of a capsule and broke the sound barrier in a supersonic freefall. Over 8 million people watched live on YouTube, setting a global record. Today, Red Bull sells over 11 billion cans annually, generating revenues exceeding $10 billion. Yet, they outsource their actual drink production to a third-party firm. Red Bull doesn't focus on canning soda, they focus entirely on controlling culture, sports teams, and global media. They built an empire not on the contents of an aluminum can, but on the relentless execution of a psychological masterclass. Red Bull proved that in modern capitalism, you don't need to create the best product, you simply need to build the most captivating lie. To fully comprehend the sheer scale of Red Bull's genius, one must examine their revolutionary approach to sports sponsorship. Traditional corporate giants view sports sponsorship as a passive transaction. They pay millions of dollars simply to place a static logo on a jersey or a stadium wall, hoping that cameras will occasionally catch a glimpse of their brand. Red Bull realized very early on that this traditional model was fundamentally broken and extremely inefficient. Instead of paying to be a spectator in someone else's arena, Red Bull decided to build, own, and control the entire ecosystem themselves. When they entered extreme sports, they did not just sponsor individual athletes, they created entirely new competitions from scratch. Events like Red Bull Rampage, Red Bull Crashed Ice, and the Red Bull Air Race were entirely conceived, funded, and produced by the energy drink giant. By owning the event itself, Red Bull controls every camera angle, every broadcast right, every banner, and every single second of media coverage. Furthermore, this strategy allowed Red Bull to accumulate an unprecedented library of high-definition footage. While traditional companies were spending millions paying production agencies for 30-second commercials, Red Bull was generating thousands of hours of thrilling sports content every day. Every time you witness a human being pushing the limits of physical capability, the silver and blue logo is proudly displayed in the frame. Over time, your mind associates the brand with courage, mastery, adrenaline, and victory. You are no longer purchasing a drink to quench your thirst, you are consuming an idea, a status symbol, and an invitation to live a life without limits.